Hi, Jaquel. How are you?
I'm good, Josh. How you doing?
Yeah, doing great, thank you. And really excited to be able to talk to you about the movie because I had a great time with this one. And I guess to begin with, I wanted to ask you what it was like for you to obviously transition from a really successful stage career to a big movie role like this.
Well, in all honesty, very scary. I went to college for musical theater and strictly musical theater, so no acting for the camera classes, none of that fun stuff. So it was a scary transition, especially with something so iconic like Mean Girls and Tina Fey coming back and Tim Meadows, and then of course a cast full of like actors who do this and have done this and have been successful at it. But everyone was so helpful, and I had a lot of great teachers on that set.
Oh, amazing. And what did Mean Girls mean to you before you signed up? Obviously, 2004 movie. I think you were pretty young when that came out, but was it a film that you
Yeah.
enjoyed later on or the musical? What did it mean to you?
Yeah, I was five. So I'm glad I was alive to see it. But no, my sister was a big fan of the movie and she had it and I would watch it with her. And I was always a chubby kid. I've always been a bigger person. So looking on the screen and seeing all of these, normalized bodies and then seeing a plus size character like Damian and then for him to be fabulous and for him to be a baddie as they say, I think to me was just like my eyes were glued to him. And I was also like the guy that was always with the girls in my family. I was with the girl cousins, and like most of my friends at school were girls. And that was Damien, you know what I mean? So it's like representation before I knew what representation was. I wasn't as familiar with the musical just because, like um, I didn't really get too many opportunities to see it in person. Saw some bootlegs, but I loved the music and how they transformed it for the stage. So I was excited to bring the movie and the musical together to make something for
Yeah, for sure. And this movie is so much fun, the way it brings the musical to life. And one of my favorites was that Revenge Party song. You get to wear some great costumes in that
it.
sequence. But what do you look back on fondly on moments like that on set? Because it's so elaborate to watch. I'm guessing it must have been the same to shoot. It's a huge sequence, really.
Revenge Party, as fun as it was, goodness gracious, there were days when it's like, we still are not done with this song. Because it just seemed like every week, though there were different scenes and different montages, Revenge Party was on the schedule every week for weeks. Um, which of course was fun, but there were numbers where it was like we're outside and it's 20 degrees in New Jersey and it's a little cold to be running around for hours. There were times we were in the hallway sequence. I remember we were there till like 1 o'clock in the morning. So but for me, I think because it was my first film and I was just excited and grateful to be there. I mean, I could have gone all night. I was just like, give me a Sprite, let me get my energy up, and let's keep it going. So I had a great time with that.
Oh, amazing. And of course, a big part of that sequence as well, Auliʻi Cravalho. So what was it like working with her? It's very important, obviously, for your two characters to have that chemistry and that back and forth. And I thought together you guys just nailed it. But what was it like for you to work with her?
Yeah, Ali E is an extremely talented artist, very gifted, and it was a joy to work with someone who really cares about their craft and just brought such a real energy to Janice and found the truth in that character. So it was very easy to bounce off of her energy and play with her.
Yeah, and was it the same with Anjori Rice as well? Because obviously, again, a very different sort of relationship between those two characters, but just as fun in some ways, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, I mean, and Gallery is just she's just the sweetest person. So like you can't help but want to hug in Gallery. So every day when I was here on set, I'm like, hey, come here," just she's my little sister. So it was that energy I hope translated directly into Katie because it just felt like as Damien, I want to protect her, but I also want to be loyal to Janice and I also want to see how the drama unfolds. But yeah, she's just such a fantastic person to work with.
Oh, it's great to hear that, And going back to the musical numbers, I know you said obviously Revenge Party is one that was a challenge to shoot, but did you have any particular favorites that you were involved with? Because there's a lot of memorable ones in this one, but which one stood out for you, would you say?
I think another favorite of mine would probably be Apex Predator.
Yes.
Any number where we got to see our dancers shine and give these iconic performances. I feel like we had the most talented dancers ever on this project. So any number where we got to see them do their thing was extraordinary to me, including the ending stars when the camera comes around the gym and you just see all of them doing the choreo so beautifully. And they were just a fun time, like they brought the energy of just grateful to be there and the passion. So yeah, I think those were my favorite numbers.
Oh, amazing. And as Damian, you get so many great moments. There's that talent show where I think you're doing the iCarly theme song in French, that black and white, the
Yeah.
way it's shot. So what was that like for you? As you said, this being your first film role to see that kind of creative side of the filmmaking and how that involved you.
Yeah, it was very cool to see what happens behind the scenes, what happens in between takes. That scene in particular was the first thing that I ever filmed for the movie, so that counts as my first uh time filming on set. And then to share that stage with Tim Meadows, and of course people know him as Principal Duvall, but I know him from so many amazing things that he's done. My family is a big fan of his work. And then to have Tina over on the piano, and our choreographer Kyle, in the audience, like it was just, I don't know, just being able to see all the crew and all the technology being used and the camera operators and let's try this. Actually, he needs more sweat. Where's makeup to spray more sweat on him? Those are the cool things that on Broadway sometimes you don't even get to experience. For me, the show I was in, the character was on stage the entire time. So I was never able to see the behind the scenes work that put the show together. So this was really the first time I was able to see all the crews doing their thing to make the magic happen. It was really extraordinary.
Oh, sounds incredible. And another good part of your character, I think, is there's a little bit of physical comedy, whether it's that great moment with the fan or when he's on the like the car at the party. So what do you enjoy about that side of thing and tapping into the humor as well? 'Cause it's like I said, such a funny role and such a funny character.
Yeah, I will me, I'm a goofball in life, just naturally. I'm just goofy. And it was fun to bring that to Damien. I feel like a lot of characters that are fat in the world of high school and in a lot of movies are always the victim. They're always getting bullied, they're getting disrespected, and it's just a hard time for them. And I really wanted to find a way to like truthfully lean into the comedy, just to show like, especially in this iteration of Mean Girls, no one's bothering him. No one is disrespecting him. A shoe is not thrown in his face as it is in the 2004 version. This is a very different time. Body positivity exists. Uh, just so many things. Queerness is more accepted. So I wanted to lean in on the fun of Damien.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because there are so many positive messages in the film, as you said, with the diversity, and there's obviously an anti-bullying message to an extent as well as we get to the end of the movie. So, what did it mean for you to come on board a project like this and to see all those themes that you mentioned put front and center and treated really respectfully as they should be as well?
As someone who I feel like we've all had our dealt with our fair share of bullying, but I don't know how many projects have turned something like a burn book into something like a TikTok and technology and Snapchat and Instagram. Those things have not changed. They're still going on in a different format. And I think it was nice to show like how it affects people, but also to show the other side of, there are a reason mean people are mean. And I feel like it was nice to see that and to just see these characters come together and it's like, look, you do your thing, I'm gonna do my thing, we'll survive high school, let's live our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm curious, Jaquel, this is such a great movie and a great role for you, but do you have any aspirations of what you'd like to do next on screen after this one?
I would love to, as bold as it sounds, I'd love to do a rom. I feel like we have never seen a bigger man specifically fall in love, let alone a bigger queer man. And I'd love to do it. I'd love to show that it is possible for bigger people to fall in love and to have successful relationships. And it's not all sadness and despair about our identities. So hopefully in the future, one of these projects that come along are a nice little, rom-com moment.
Well, Jaquel, I'll be keeping my fingers crossed for you on that front. But for now, cannot wait for people to check you out in this one if they haven't already, because Mean Girls, such a fun movie and such a great role for you. So thank you for taking the time for a chat today.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
You too. Congrats on the movie. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.